I feel like I could get used to this.
Before we get going and get the show started, we want to say a big, big thank you to our friends here at Kane's Ballroom. Let's give them a big round of applause. I know a lot of you guys came here from other places. Raise your hand if this is your first time in this building. Raise your hand, first time. Woo! You're in a kind of a legendary space. This stage has hosted the Sex Pistols and everybody else.
Everybody has played
else. Here. I want to give Joel a moment to give us a little bit of housekeeping.
Yep.
We got a lot to get through, so let's go through a couple of those things right now. And you guys know Joel does all the artwork for the books. Yeah. And also is the kind of chief Howler Wrangler. Would you call yourself the Howler Wrangler?
Howler Wrangler. I don't know about that.
And the man behind
because
Lit
howlers
Escalates.
are impossible to fucking wrangle. It's kind of part of the brand. But I try to
you do a good job.
Thank you again, once again, everybody for coming. I know people have come from all over the country. This is a beautiful event. The energy is amazing. I was just sitting back in the green room with Pierce reminiscing about rejections and sitting with him before the books were ever published and dreaming about moments like this and to see it happen. It's gonna make me cry on stage, so I'm gonna try not to do that. So thank you all for coming.
So we want to touch on a couple of things. How many of you have a color wristband on? Do you have a wristband or a ticket, rather? I'm sorry, a colored ticket with a letter on it, A, B, C, D. You guys have these things? You're gonna need that because that's very important, because when we do the signing at the end, we've done something to try to make your lives a little bit easier. So raise your hand if you're in group A. You have group A. Okay, so the way this is gonna work is we're gonna go one group at a time, signing their books, so that if you're in group C or D, you don't have to panic about whether you're gonna get your book signed. We'll come up here and call your letter. If you're not ready for it, you can get a beer, hang out, meet all our vendors, whatever you want to do. And we're going to make sure every book is signed. Pierce is going to stay here until everybody has a chance to get through the line. So that's going to make your lives a little bit easier. So yes, thank you. These things can kind of turn into a shit show sometimes. We're trying to avoid that. So thank you for your patience. These first 3 rows, though, we want to say a couple things about that. You want to tell them?
Yeah, the first 3 rows, we told you this before, but thank you again for being willing to jump out of your seats so that we can move the chairs for the signings. I really appreciate that. Thank you. As soon as we finish up the talk portion, we'll be asking you all to help move the chairs, etc.
So let's get to the show. You got something we want to start with something special, right? So
you're gonna have to remind me because I'm getting a little bit of stage fright.
Well, we want to bring up somebody who's going to share.
Oh, we do. Yes, we do.
Now, this is not part of cosplay, by the way. This is a real thing. These crutches are real. This is not some gimmick, you know. So we want to say thank you to Joel for climbing up here on the stage. But some of you guys dressed up. Did we have a few people?
Yeah. So I want to bring. Well, first we got to get Pierce up here.
Oh, we have an extra helper, don't we?
What's that?
We have someone special coming up first, right? Who would that be?
No, do we?
Maybe the guy who wrote these books?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, okay.
I forgot.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. What was
Would you guys
name?
like to meet Pierce Brown? Oh, where is he? Is he here somewhere?
I think he might be backstage. Pierce Brown?
Oh, there he is. Let's hear it for Pierce Brown,
okay.
everybody.
Here he is.
All right, Mama Brown is gonna love how fast you guys responded to the down. You sit down, sir. So, we have a thing we've been doing since the beginning of this tour. And I felt a little nerdy until this tour to ask this of people. But you who have come from other spots on the tour, maybe Boston, maybe Atlanta, have understood what happens here. I'm gonna ask you all to howl. But here's the thing. A lot of people hold in their howl. they do this sad howl where it sounds like they're dying. You know what I mean? It sounds like they're stuck in the bushes like Quinn. Or Leia. But I want you guys to reach into your deep core and realize you came to fucking Tulsa for this shit. So, on the count of 3, I want you guys to howl. 1 for my mom, 2 for my Instagram, most for my Instagram. And also get these motherfuckers in Hollywood to make this an actual movie. So, on the count of 3, I want you to howl. 1, 2, not yet. 3. Here's the thing. 1, I'm disappointed. 2, I didn't press play. Because you guys gave me too many beers in line when I was signing earlier. So, we're gonna do it again. But it's twice the level. You know what you're capable of. But the thing is, you don't want to be at home tonight and realize I didn't howl because I thought I wasn't a nerd. Because I see you. You didn't howl as hard as you could, did you? You dressed as Virginia, but you ain't got shit. So, 1, 2, 3. I'm aroused.
Do you think
we're moving on with our scheduled program, and we are going to invite on the
maestro, the queen of the cosplay competition, Alexis Lampley. Alexis, could you come on stage here real
Alexis
quick?
Lampley, whose visuals you guys have enjoyed.
A few words about Alexis. Alexis has been a collaborator on the Red Rising world for a couple of years now. You may recognize her work from the shirtless Cassius she painted for our Valentine's Day cards a few years ago, which is my personal favorite of all of the Red Rising merch we've made. Alexis is the proprietor of Nerdy Inc. She's an incredible illustrator, she is an incredible artist, and she is going to introduce all of our cosplay folks on stage. So a few notes about that. Alexis has a booth over here with her alternative Red Rising dust jackets she has. They're beautiful. They're a collaboration with another artist we love named PB Doodles, who could not come tonight. We also love PB. I will tell her about the howls. Alexis has her booth over here. So throughout the evening, we actually have a Vox Populi vote happening at the booth, which is for your favorite cosplay. We had to, I'm sorry. But we do need a popular vote because we want y'all's input into your favorite cosplay. So Alexis is going to parade them all across the stage. She's picked her favorite, Pierce has picked his favorite, and then right now we're about to introduce everybody. Alexis, take it from here.
Hi, everybody. Okay, if you can't tell, I really love cosplay. And so I was really excited to get to host this. These are all incredible, and I'm excited for you to see them. So, here we go. First up, we have Mustang and Reaper.
Turn for the crowd, spin for the crowd. We have to see all angles.
Spin.
Mustang's costume is an evolution of Mustang. There's a lot of symbolism in their costumes, so that's a little tidbit for you. All right, next up is Evie. Evie has emerald eyes and eagle-shaped wings. Okay, next up is Alcatraz. She's got a handmade jacket with the Julii crust and the Barca oath. I don't think you're gonna recognize this next one. It's a Red Helldiver. All handmade. Okay, next is Toast. Woo! Custom-made armor, and if there's any room left, people are welcome to sign in color on the armor. Okay, next is Theodora. Woo! Theodora, the plight of the pinks really resonated with her. Okay, next is the Dead Horse. This guy clawed his way out of a horse to be here tonight. Next we have Howler 2. 90% of what he's wearing, he already owned. Then we have Severo Albarca. This is his first cosplay. He made it himself. It's great. Good job. We next have Io and Red Darrow. A note with them, I accidentally split them in the vote over there, but you can vote for them together. Again, you're not going to know who this is. Apollonius. Yeah, crowd, give the horns. Give it. Okay, this next one has snuck up on me like 4 times. Scarab Skin Severo. A whole bunch of 3D printed stuff. The suit was adapted. It's pretty amazing. Next we have Lysanda. If a Howler was forced to a formal event, this is what she imagines it would look like. Next, we have Io. She has in red contacts, and her own hair is, her ring is made of her own hair. Okay, next we have Mustang. She's wearing a formal gown amidst a sea of gold from the dinner in the first act of Golden Sun. And now we have Light. The wolf cloak is handmade. One of my personal favorite characters, Ephraim T. Horn. he's got handmade sigils on his hand. All right, we have another howler. Come on out. This is the first ever cosplay and completely handmade. And finally, we have Virginia Augustus and Darrow Olikos. There are a lot of really cool details in this, so make sure you check it out. There's a howler head, handmade sling blade and belts, handmade armor, contact scars. Go see them in person.
Here we go, guys. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was good, especially Avi walking down the center. It was great. All right,
All right, you ready to chat? You want to take a seat here? Yeah, we got some water. Okay.
Do you need some water?
I think we're about done already. That's a lot of energy we spent already. Are you guys doing okay still? Everybody doing good? All right, so before we kind of dive into some book stuff, specific stuff, I do want to take some time to talk about this amazing community that you guys have built here, and also kind of everyone we brought in to kind of partner with this. Joel, do you want to take a second and kind of talk about who we have here with us tonight?
I would love to. So this is going to take a second, but these are all people that are absolutely worth hearing about. And I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to introduce every artist collaborator that we have here tonight.
And I want to cheer after each one, guys.
Y'all better fucking cheer. Because some of these people traveled from Seattle. Josh Polis, over here, the Orange Armory, drove by himself.
Josh drove 27 hours. He has 3 hours left in the audiobook.
So wish him luck. So I'm going to start here with Alexis, who you just met on stage. Alexis is the proprietor of the artist behind Nerdy Inc. We've worked with her on a bunch of projects. She's amazing. Visit her booth. Her
She's done a lot of
merchandise
the
is
incredible covers you guys have had, and about half of them are signed, especially the Red Rising, so get you some.
Absolutely. Alexis, thank you so much for coming all the way here. Josh, we just talked about your epic drive. Josh is the Glarastes of our universe. Josh is our master maker. Josh has a bunch of incredible things to show you if they haven't all been sold already, which they might have.
And Josh,
including an operational stun pike.
Josh, have you sold the sun pike, but have you sold the helmet yet? Helmet sold? Who has the helmet? Where's the helmet? Oh! You got it for a bargain, darling.
Josh, thank you so much for making the drive. We love you. Josh also worked on our Kickstarter. Yes! Next down the line, we have Cabin Boys Brewery. If you guys have been drinking that delicious beer, can we give them a howl?
Come on, you gotta cheer louder than that. It's booze.
So actually, funny story, this whole thing started with beer. This entire event started with beer. It started because Austin, the master brewer at Cabin Boys, and I were talking about doing a Red Rising beer. And we were like, this is going to be amazing. We'll sell it all over the country. It's going to be incredible. And then we looked into the laws, and you can't ship beer. We were like, God damn it, we have to do it in Tulsa, I guess. So that was actually the launch of this event, was because I wanted to make a beer. So thank you, Austin, for making a beer with me. This is so much fun. Next down the line, we have our incredible Howler Band, Me Like Bees. They have a merch booth. These guys rocked out for y'all. Can we give them another round of applause? Woo! Moving around the room, we have Flash Flood Screen Print. They're live printing the first page of Lightbringer on t-shirts and bandanas tonight. They are master printers. They make almost all of our products. And you should stop by their booth, see what they're doing, say hello. We have an incredible, well, I don't know if there are any left at this point, but we had some amazing t-shirts and bandanas that we had at their booth. I don't know yet. Have we sold out, May? There's still some left. Grab one while you can. And then on this side here is our Lit Escalates booth. So y'all probably know this already. The pre-order pickup, you can grab your stuff at any point during the night from our pre-order booth. And then we have our merch booth here. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Avery, for holding down the fort. And last, but very much not least, our event partners tonight, Magic City Books. This event would not have happened without Magic City Books.
Give it up. And last but not least, Joel Phillips. My brother from another mother, the man who read Red Rising, was probably the third person to ever read it. And we sat in front of his family's fire and came up with the symbols together. And Joel didn't like me at first.
I hated him.
understand that. I don't like me at first either. But Joel and I got bound together because of a common love of Red Rising. And Red Rising is that beautiful Venn diagram, a lot of the things we loved as kids. And once we had that, I think it was inseparable.
It was love
and
at
since
first.
then, he's been the master artificer of this world. He created all the maps for every book. So give a hand up for this man. And sit down, sir. And sit down, you pack. And without Joel, because I'm an idiot, I do one thing well, and it's the books. But without Joel, we would not all be here. So stand the fuck up and give a hand for Joel. Okay, sit down, sit down. Joel.
Thank you, Pierce. It's a beautiful story of love at second sight. Jeff, once again, I do want to bring it back to Magic City and the amazing work you guys are doing here. Thank you again for partnering
happy to
with
do
us.
it. I want to say also thanks to the Tulsa Artist Fellowship for being part of this as well.
They help
also, thank you to
sponsor-
you guys. So I've known Joel now for several years, and probably since before the pandemic, we were like, how can we get an event with Pierce here? Because you guys have been buddies forever. We were certainly patient. And I will say the first Magic City Books event we ever had was in this same room. It was with an author named Stephen King. And I will tell you that the energy in this room tonight far surpasses what that was, okay?
Guys, get up. Yeah. Be weird. Be weird.
Now, I
love
will
you
say
too.
Stephen King had been hit
Ben,
by
my
a car
boy.
at one point, too, so, we got to give him that. Thank you so much for doing this. I mean, we have like 2 minutes left. No, we're good. But we do have a lot to talk about. First, I want to say congrats on the book. Instant New York Times bestseller, as we knew it would be. And people have been waiting a bit for this book. I guess it's kind of a basic question, but like, what does it kind of feel like to finally have it out there, and you knew the response. You have a big following. People are obviously here for a reason. But as the books progress, do you get more nervous with each release because there's kind of expectations? What does it feel like with each new subsequent book coming out?
I don't think nerves come into it per se. What straight up, writing sucks. I don't like writing. Kurt Vonnegut said it well. Your back hurts, your butt hurts. There's no solution for it. You feel miserable. I'm not by nature an introvert, so it's very strange to actually stay in a room and write a book about make-believe characters. What's fun for me has always been, and I've said this a lot, and if you've been with me on any of my other stops, you understand. It's my thing as a kid was I was like building forts. So I grew up in 8 states. I had friends for a very short spell. Half those states were cities, and the other half were in the country. And the country is where I loved it, because I could build a fort in the woods and force my friends at relative gunpoint, sometimes at airsoft point, to come and play a game with me and pretend it's the Siege of Minas Tirith or the Siege of Helm's Deep, or even if you're getting super nerdy, the Siege of Acre. That's for the medieval fans out here. Yeah. And the more people that played along, the more real it felt. And so for me, these last 4 years were almost existential, because I wanted to create a book that was true to the Red Rising series without jumping the shark. And the problem is, I'm a very different person than when I wrote the first book at 22. So how can I make something that captures the original magic, however, is new, right? And so for me, it was really saying, how can I change these characters without jeopardizing all the things that came before in the first series and making them feel as if they were for naught, but also change and evolve the series. And fortunately, I figured it out, I believe. So I thank you all for your patience. Nerves come into it in the initial things. So about 6 years ago, I stopped reading reviews. About 6 years ago, I stopped getting on Reddit and stopped getting on Twitter, and understood that, well, we've all seen things that become reactionary, right? And they try to please. And I think, have y'all ever been into someone in a relationship? They give you what you, they might not give you what you want, but they give you what you need. And that's what I hope his sixth book is.
You know, so this far into the book, you know, it's interesting when you have a series like this. I mean, you know, John Grisham doesn't have people dressing up at his events like lawyers. That you've tapped into something here.
Because, homie, he's a square.
Yeah, it's obvious, obviously. But I wonder, it's almost like you dropped an IPO at some point, meaning like this is kind of like a publicly traded property at some point when you look out at this audience.
Yeah.
When did that moment happen, you know, in the series of the books where you kind of started to realize that it was obviously you're the author, the definition of author is ownership. It became something more. Was there an actual moment where you felt the shift into kind of a collective?
Fuck, you've done this before, haven't you? That's a great
Couple
question.
times.
That is honestly a question I've never been asked. I'd say it came from the initial book. It came from characters, Severo in particular. Severo is the only character that is truly based on an individual I knew. I moved to rural Iowa. I met this psychopath who lived next door with rickshaw teeth and red hair and freckles everywhere. And we were best friends through middle school. And then we got to our elementary school. And then we lit a few barns on fire. Mostly because his brother was an idiot and thought that the bucket near the fire was water. It was not, it was kerosene. I lost my eyebrows for about a year, so I like literally my eyebrows have not recovered. I still have like cumulus eyebrows because of it. But it was this guy named Alex Wakeland who was actually like really like loved and embraced being Severo. And Alex, I remember and here's how like the whole Darrow-Severo relationship kind of cracked up, is that Alex and I were friends in elementary school. Then we got to middle school, and I got in a different crowd. And Alex and I stopped being so close. And then I got in a fight in middle school, and all of a sudden Alex appears out of nowhere, jumps on this guy's back and starts biting him. The only difference between Severo and Darrow and me and Alex is now 6'3" and was a cage fighter. I remained 5'10", and I type for a living. But really, it was the attachment to characters that I did not plan. So I schemed Red Rising. So I wanted to write a space opera. No one was buying space operas. So I said, how can I create something that is market efficient and palatable? Well, Hunger Games was successful at the time, but the thing is, I loved Battle Royale. I loved Ender's Game. I loved Lord of the Flies. I loved Robinson Crusoe. I loved Dune. I loved Star Wars. I loved all these things, and I melded them together into a story I wish existed. And then when that hit, when that worked, and then people started loving it, wasn't until book 2 till people started really loving the Howlers. And that confused me, because book 2 was written, it was written in confusion. I had a contract, I was paid. What the fuck does that mean? You know, I had this contract that I'd been offered, and I said, the big contract I was offered when I first, after 130 rejections of agents, was a contract from a publishing company. When they wanted to start the book 100 pages in, they wanted to start at the Institute, and without any of the early stuff. And even though I only had like about $10,000 in my name, mostly from lawn mowing, I said no, because I was wrong. And then 2 weeks later, I got the Random House contract for 3 books for about way more money. So it was probably right between then, is like after getting that and then writing book 2 and then meeting people in the signing lines and them saying, I'm a howler. I'm like, what does that mean? They were literally just the guys meant to go up the ship pipes, you know?
So I think next year will be the 10-year anniversary of the first book. So you've been doing this for a decade. Yep.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like what? Okay, how many people here read it within the first 2 years of it being published? You fucking nerds. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. How many of y'all got it for free? Y'all go to Comic-Con, don't you?
So in that time, obviously, the first books came out at a pretty rapid pace. We hit this moment where it's been, 4 years or so. For obvious reasons, the world changed, things slowed down. Did the pumping the brakes change the way this book was written? Did it make you think more about it? Did it make you redo things you wouldn't have done if you'd been on more of a straight, year-to-year publication process?
Yes, they did. And we should all thank Joel here for being my unpaid shrink.
It's worth it.
I'd call Joel probably once every week, every 2 weeks?
More than that.
I'm needy. If COVID had not have happened, I don't think this series will last as long as I hope it will. I believe with this book, I had to understand Darrow's psyche in a different way. I believe that Darrow is someone who was based off. So when I wrote Darrow initially, they're okay. When I wrote Darrow initially, I was 22. I was in between jobs. I had 3 months to write a new book. It was my 7th book. None of the others had been accepted by agents. And I realized it was this or I quit. And it was the first time I stopped emulating other people and decided to write the book I wish existed. And for any of you writers out there, I say that's the only thing you got to give. The only thing you can give is your perspective. The only thing you can give is your taste. And so Red Rising was written in a 3-month chunk before I was kicked out of my parents' house. And I wrote it in that chunk and then ended up selling it. But what really happened with it is that I forgot the question.
This is kind of a weird question, but
Y'all gave me the whiskey. It wasn't me.
it's a bit of a weird question. But I'm curious, when you're sitting at your computer writing initially,
Yes.
and you're coming up with all kinds of crazy names and ideas that have not existed before, you're having to name characters.
Yeah. So there's apparently 982 new words created in the Red Rising universe.
So when you're doing that, you have to probably have something in you that says, this is the dumbest fucking word I've ever heard. People are going to think this is hokey or weird.
Oh, yeah.
But the minute it gets published,
Pulse
it
fist,
becomes...
it sounds like a sex device.
Yes.
We wish.
But the minute that it gets printed on the page and someone reads it, it's almost like verified.
Dude, every time I finish a book, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that I actually finished one.
Or that you were able to kind of like, you branded things and created people
No, not that.
now
I'm
people
shocked
know.
that I fooled you guys. Like, because it really is just pretending. It's a kid sewing a yarn, but the difference is you have systems built in, right? Oh, you're an angel.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Did you see that rolling? What the hell? So yeah, it's like every time you write something, you feel like you're a moron, unless you are a narcissistic monster. During COVID, realized, so I wrote 400 pages. So for this whole thing, so I have documents and I put it all in one folder. I wrote 1.5 million words for a 225,000 word story. The reason I wrote 1.5 is because I was insane, one. Two, I realized I'd convinced myself my entire life I was an introvert when I was actually an extrovert and needed people more than I thought. Three, I was exploring every part of the world. So the book initially started off with a 200-page switch back and forth between Atlas Aura and Severa Albarca from their POVs. The problem is I realized I was doing a George R. R. Martin. I'm creating something I can't finish. And so then...
Shots fired.
Guys, that's actually not meant to be sarcastic. George is one of the great storytellers in the last 50 years. It's not his fault he's so brilliant, and it's his fault he's not disciplined, but he is so but he is actually so brilliant. So it's not me passing shade. If it weren't for George, I wouldn't have written this series, straight up. And I say that in a passive-aggressive way. Here's the funny part. And I've told Joel this so many times, and he gets a kick out of this. 2006, Feast for Crows, right? Comes out. I know it's going to be a long wait. I start writing my own book on a yellow Lego pad. 2010 comes out, Dance of Dragons. And I realize by this point, I can't wait for this homie. So I start making my own stuff. If it's not for the gaps in the books you love, you're not going to be a writer. So if you're creative, if you love stuff, don't be angry at your creative that you adore. Just fill the gap. Because if it weren't for that feeling, if it weren't for that emotion, this shit wouldn't exist. And I'm not even kidding. I wouldn't be a writer were it not for George R. R. Martin pissing me off. Anyway, I feel like you have more questions. We can get to them.
Well, I want to get to some audience questions, but I do have one thing I want to drill down on what you talked about, which is the role of the audience in the narrative, which is you have to play this game where if we asked everyone in the audience here how they think this story should end, they're all going to have an opinion on it. So you have to both appreciate the fact that they have those opinions, but not give one shit about it when you sit down at the typewriter or the computer or the sketch pad or whatever you're doing, because you have to kind of stay true to what you're doing and not be influenced by, fan culture, because ultimately what they want is what is coming from you. That's what they loved in the first place, and that's the book they fell in love with, and sometimes we kind of get those things mixed. So how do you kind of deal with that dichotomy?
It's two very different sides of your personality. One is remarkable humility in being so grateful for everyone reading the books ad nauseum, like loving them, dressing up, like what the hell? Like, I didn't think that was gonna happen. And then also realizing you fuckers weren't there when I was alone above my parents' garage writing this shit. It's really that emotion. And you have to really understand that democratized things can be overall okay, but they can't be great. so I have to be a benevolent tyrant. If we had voted on characters to kill, how would y'all reacted? Spoilers, motherfuckers, chill. The whole thing is, I really love being connected to the audience. I try to channel that energy and really connect with everyone I meet because I really care and it means the world to me. However, if I lurk on Reddit, if I read reviews, I will posit it like this. When we were all kids and you were asked what superpower you wanted, what is one thing you said that you realized when you were an adult is the worst superpower to have? Mind reading. If you were mind reading, you would be the least happy individual on this planet. I appreciate the filters. This is my brother. I don't want to hear what he really thinks about me. Because it really has to do with an author. I feel if they really pay attention, I feel as though you guys can see this in Hollywood. When a show cares too much about what Reddit thinks, right? When they're doing wish fulfillment, it's because it violates the inherent principle between an author, or the contract between an author and the fans, which is that the author will stay true to the world, right? If I had listened to y'all, Ulysses would not have happened. But homie needed to hang in that tree.
All right, I want to get to some audience questions. Let's try to lightning round this a little bit because we got a lot of fucking books to sign. So, first question though is for Joel.
Ooh, I
got
get
a
one?
question for Joel.
Ooh, sultry.
So first off, it starts with a compliment, which says the moon artwork in Lightbringer is stunning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aren't these the best maps y'all have fucking seen? Did y'all see his time lapse of him drawing that? What is this guy? An athlete.
So the actual question is this. This is from Taylor, and it says, any chance of some prints or a book collection of the Red Rising art at some point?
The answer to both of those questions is yes and yes. If you are not following Lit Escalates on Instagram, we do regular releases of limited edition art. In fact, that actually brings me to how Lit Escalates as a thing started. It started during COVID, which brings us back to the question Pierce didn't answer, really.
I dodge and dip and dive.
There was some
All
dodging.
right, books, man. Leave me alone.
Which was, we were sitting there during COVID, and I had some friends at Flash Flood who were struggling because everything was screwed over, everything was fucked. And they were like, we don't know if we can keep the lights on. It was pre-PPP, and I was talking with Pierce, and I was like, well, we could probably put some stuff on a bandana, and we could sell some stuff, and we ended up doing $30,000 worth of bandanas as a fundraiser for United Way in a
Joel
weekend.
hit me up. Joel hit me up in the middle of the day and said, I want to do something with your community. And I think we can get, like literally, Joel's the biggest sweetheart ever. So yeah, we live in a capitalist world. Joel is a socialist capitalist. He wants to help
You can meld
people.
the two,
But
I believe
nah, you're Vox Populi, bitch. Joel said, how can we make no money and help a lot of people? So he came out of nowhere and said, I think you have this audience where we can make money for COVID help, right?
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, Lit Escalates was born.
which was called Shit Escalates, which is still what I call it. In my heart of hearts, actually,
they still know their shit.
True story, the LLC is SH*T Escalates because the state of Oklahoma would not let us put a swear word in our company name. But I am digressing here. The point is we have done releases of the maps. We will do releases of these other maps, and we will be continuing that. So follow Lit Escalates, and there'll be more.
Well, the real question is, like, would y'all like a full-on... Yeah, how many Star Wars fans do we have here? Okay. How many of y'all are like nerds like Joel and me, and y'all read those late 90s, like Can I finish my question? Those late 90s Star Wars compendium of planets and characters. So how fun would it be if we had books that was like all the dossiers and the characters? And then Joel just getting fucking crazy with the art on the worlds.
Challenge accepted.
All right, so this will all depend on me responding to Joel's emails.
All right, a couple more questions for Pierce here. If you went to the Institute, what house do you think you'd end up in, and why? Jordan.
It's a little bit late.
Do you mean on why Pluto?
What?
Sorry.
Pluto? Pluto? You think I like eating people? I mean, I would do it. I'm down for a new experience, but I hear you get a rash. From Hannibal, I hear the cheeks are the best. I'd say at 16, House Mars. I think I couldn't find a proper outlet from my anger when I was younger. I moved around a bunch and went into a lot of different ecosystems and did not even get into AP like English. And I did not realize words were a better expression form than physical actions. So House Mars, when I was 18 or 16, I'd say now probably Minerva. But Minerva's the aspiration. I certainly didn't start there. Joel, where would you be?
Pluto. No, I'm just kidding. I'd probably be Mars because I always had anger problems. And
This is why Joel and I didn't get on at first.
So this was kind of a question, I don't even know exactly what it means, but it was intriguing to me, and this is from Wendell, and it says, do you regret anything that you've put into this series? And I don't know if that means, in terms of like, would you go back and change it because of foreshadowing other books or whatever, but was there anything you could look at in these past books and say, I'd do something different?
Yes, but I also look at that as like life. I'd say to Joel, do you regret any art you've created? And you probably say, yes, I wish I could put the finishing touches on anything. But it's the imperfection that makes it, it makes it. Because everything that we do will always be flawed. I wish I could write better plots, characters, sentences. However, it is those decisions that make us, right? So if you look back on your life and said, I would change something, okay, cool. But would you be here now? Would you be the person that you're meant to be? Not even meant to be. I think I take issue with the concept of if God closes the door, he opens a window. I don't think that's the case. I think if the door is closed, you can carve a window. And that's inherent to what I think. So yeah, but the thing is, like, if I went back, I'm a way better writer now. I'm way cleverer. I have way more tools at my disposal. But I still don't think if I went back now, I could make Red Rising. Red Rising is what it is because it's flawed. It's based on the beauty of ignorance, which is also a very, very talented window, or a special window for an artist. Look at most of your musical favorites. There's a reason past 30 they don't make the stuff that you love. It's because ignorance and competency often don't mix. When you are ignorant, you make the thing your soul bleeds for. When you're competent, you make the thing that you think people want. And so I made a book that my soul bleeds for. And flawed as it is, I love it.
Our last question before we move on to the signing portion of the evening is this, and you kind of just touched on it, which is when you're in the middle of a project, what is your personal metric for success and what is good?
Joel.
How do you know what is good?
God damn it.
Literally, like, I'll send shit to Joel. I'll talk through shit with Joel and be like, does this sound stupid? Usually I'll be like, well, okay. So the dark, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna kick it to Joel, then I'm gonna answer. The dark part of this book happened because COVID, and I ended up like I called Joel drunk in the middle of the day. No, it's funny, but it doesn't work. The problem with being in a creative field is, Stephen King said this in his own writing, is you're constantly trying to chase the white rabbit. If you catch it, great. But the problem is you're trying to recreate the feelings of initial success, which is when you find an idea and you grab it by the tail and you run with it. The problem is the more competent you get, the more difficult it becomes because you realize your taste outstrips your talent. My taste will hopefully always outstrip my talent because that means I keep striving. The problem is in a COVID period where you're not getting this interaction. Like this interaction grounds me. Grounds you, right? Grounds you, right? It makes you understand your audience. It makes you understand that you're connecting to people. It makes me understand my world isn't bullshit. But when I'm by myself, it's really hard not to feel like my world's bullshit, that I'm just making stuff up. And so I would end up like drinking too much. I'd end up trying to get to a place of stupidity where I could create something that was as good or as, not as good, as pure as when I was 22 or 23. And so I would call Joel and I'd try to talk to him about decisions I was making. Problem is, Joel just likes my stuff, so it wasn't helpful sometimes.
I tried.
Oh, no, but then you'd say the same thing about your shit, and I just like your stuff. So I'm gonna let you answer.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think you know when you know. There's a gut response. Like when you write something and you make something that resonates with something bigger than you know. But what you really are asking for in that moment when you call me, you're asking for somebody else to ratify that sense, that gut sense that you
Gratify,
have.
that's it.
Yeah, and so it's really about creating in community, I think, is the reality of the center of that process, which is why you're always the first person I send a new painting to. Because you want to hear that feedback. You want to hear that. You want to hear somebody else who you trust to say, oh, no, that's also bullshit, if it is, but who will turn to you and say, no, you did it. You found that thing. But you also, I mean, every one of the conversations I've had with you, you knew before you asked me the question.
Well, 2 degrees. So here's the question. How many of y'all are artists? We'll start very small. How many of you guys are writers? Raise your hands. All right, y'all are crazy. How many of y'all are creators? That you generate, even if you're in a non-creative field, that you generate the thing your business operates on, right? So, everything is based on your taste, right? The problem is when you doubt your own taste. This is why I don't go on Reddit. This is why I do not read reviews, because it will act like termites to your foundation. You will never be the most talented person. You won't. I'm not. All I have is my take. And so when I start indicting my take, then I start robbing my audience of my take, of my unique perspective. And I think you all are here because of the culmination of my experiences, the culmination of a lot of things that y'all took in as well. And if I start looking at the criticisms, if I start looking at the critiques, if y'all start looking at the critiques, you're looking at your critiques that are usually not from people who have that onus on them. It usually does not come from people who are also creative. There's a reason I don't critique books on Goodreads and talk about other authors' work. It's because I don't think it's my place. It's because my taste is really particular. And someone's book may rock, but I won't give it a great grade. Does that mean I should knock someone? No. My method of expression is in my own thing. And so I hope that, one of the things I hope about this series is that you really realize that it's about uplifting other people, other artists, other creatives, and also the people around you. That's the whole thing, right?
I want to say just one more time, thank you to Joel, thank you to Christine, thank you to all of our vendors and everybody.
Hold on a sec. Christine, Joel's wife. who put all this together.
Where is she? Where is she?
You may not see it. You may not see
Over
it.
here.
Christine, come on stage. Come on stage. Everyone on their feet. Get on your feet. Look, Christine, who put this all together for us.
So, I've been pretending like I've run this event this whole time. I haven't. She did, so thank her for putting this together. She's put every ounce of energy she has into this beautiful event, so thank you.
Love you.
Before we wrap up, I want to tell a couple things. You know, I've done 2,000 book events since like I was 28 years old. I just turned 43. I've done these for a long time, yeah. And out of that 2,000 events, there have been 25 maybe that have actually kind of become greater than the sum of their parts. And when I started this thing, I wanted to prove that book events could feel like any concert you would go to or any fun thing you would do. And so if you walked by this Kane's Ballroom tonight and you heard that great band rocking out before, you smelled the beer from Cabin Boys because you guys are sweating, drifting out of your pores, and you had all the different things happening. No one walked by here tonight and thought, like, I wonder if there's a book event going on in there tonight. And so you guys did that. You guys made that happen. Go to things like this in the places you live. Support the authors in those cities. Go to those bookstores. Do those different things. And more importantly, most importantly, let's give it up for Pierce Brown, everybody, and thank him for being here tonight.
My friends. Yeah. So, that would be a really weird orgy. I want you guys to give Me Like Bees some love. Not just here. Give them love where it counts. We live in a capitalist society. Follow these motherfuckers on Instagram. All right, Me Like Bees. Okay, you like bees, like they make honey, okay? And after all this enthusiasm, I think you guys are ready for howling again. Yeah? Yeah. All right, so pretend, what's a really, like, exciting way to howl? Pretend Victra needs you to howl, otherwise she'll die in the next book. Victor's gonna die. Lysander has a gun. What you got?
Fuck Lysander.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Is that it? Is that it? Come on. I fucking love you people. Thank you.
Thank you. Word up.